And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about femininity in men and where does it originate? Why is the cause? What is the cause? And what is going to happen because of it? And what are the consequences of the fact that men are feminine? In order for men and women to live in harmony with each other, there needs to be polarity, meaning that we're opposites. Okay, not only are we, yes, we're the same humans, we're all human, but we're different. And we're different for a reason. We were designed the way we are for a reason, okay? Or else we could just all be hermaphrodites and have, the same reproductive system if that was the universal design. But that's not what's going on. We're different. Men develop 10 to 12 times more testosterone than women do once they begin to hit puberty. There's a reason for that, okay? So we're going to explore this. So, first of all, everyone starts out feminine. All of us. And we start out feminine in the womb, okay? This is where it starts. But boys have a spike of testosterone at certain times, including at birth. And then they resume to having the exact same amount of testosterone levels as girls do throughout all of their youth until the age of 9. 9 is approximately the time when they begin now to develop more testosterone than girls do. What does testosterone do to guys? Testosterone allows a man to, if he is it allows him to become more motivated to win. Okay, and he will hate losing because of this testosterone. Not only this, but he will also be more calm. Testosterone calmly. So that's what testosterone does. I mean, you can also see what testosterone does in terms of men when it comes to competition, when it comes to survival, when it comes to challenges. Like men get actually fired up about challenges and things that are difficult, that are in line with goals that they like. Okay, if something's hard for men, if they're masculine and if they have a high testosterone level inside their brain, it's like, oh man, this is exciting. Just kind of like the financial situation right now with, a perhaps financial crisis, or when it comes to the virus, I guess. It's like you look at the situation as a guy and you get fired up, like your blood starts pumping and you want to figure it out. You want to find a solution. You're kind of like, oh, what if we did this, and this? And you're just like, oh man, I'm gonna be positive about this. Do you understand? Like, men are completely wired differently than women for a reason. We love to tackle challenges. We love failure because it pumps us. It makes us alive to solve it and to make sure that we actually create a solution out of the problem. I don't know if I'm making sense. And if I'm not, then comment down below and ask more questions about it. But this is what testosterone does. And it makes us less cuddly and less massively in love and less focused on our emotions. The more feminine we are, the more the lower our testosterone levels, the more like children we become. We become more desperate, we become more needy, we become more anxious, we become more depressed. Like, all of those things that you see when guys have low testosterone levels, we remain in the femininity that we were in as a child. So if you look at the situation, if women want men to grow up and women want them to become and to have tons of like financial means, right? If they want men to succeed out there, if they want men to be able to buy them the houses, the cars, the lifestyle, the travel, the everything that a woman desires, the man has to become disciplined. He has to embrace failure. He has to be fired up and excited about going out into the the workplace, the marketplace, and sell himself and sell other things that are beneficial and win-win situations for everyone that he's involved with. That requires testosterone. If you're with a feminine guy, most probably want to work so much. He's going to be more focused on playing the guitar and being at home and, live a carefree lifestyle and simply chase girls because that's where he gets his spike. But that's not where you want guys to be. You also don't want guys to be using their low testosterone levels by gaming, right? There's tons of guys out there who have low testosterone levels and they're not motivated to do anything other than to focus inwardly on themselves and focus on their gaming and focus on their very like nonsense activities that has nothing to do with the long term. That makes sense. The more feminine a man is, the more he will be focused on the short term, on the now, because the testosterone doesn't help him to go out of his out of his himself to look objectively at his life and understand the past, present, and the future. The more feminine he is, the lower testosterone levels he has, the more he will be like a girl in terms of wanting to enjoy the now. So I hope that makes sense to you. But so let's look at it from a perspective of how we differ then from women when it comes to relationships. Because when we're in a relationship as a guy, when a woman is in love with us and she massively desires us sexually and otherwise, as long as it's not needy, right? At the same time, though, men kind of like it when women need them. Like it's a wow, she actually wants me around. She actually, desires to be with me. That's really nice. And me actually being able to tell her that I can't because I have more important things to do actually fuels me with testosterone. It's nice. So we have this aspect that where was I going with this? Anyway, the point is women want men to grow up and men want to grow up, but when women in a relationship with men nag at them and yell at them for not growing up, it makes us become more of a child rather than becoming more of a warrior, if that makes sense. So like throughout why is this? Why does this happen? Why do boys remain in their childhood? Why isn't there like an automatic switch that once they get their testosterone they would become more like men, right? In many ways, yes, because their sexual desire begins, so they become motivated by it to get women, right? Or to get a woman and to succeed in the marketplace. It's in us. It's just we're taught, or it actually is happening to us naturally. But, and there's a big but here, the problem is that when we're in our youth, when we're in between the ages of 0 to 9, if we get too much pressure, too much focus on being disciplined, too much sit down and listen to me, and you've got to do this and you got to do that, and and like tons of blame during their childhood when they're supposed to be feminine. Femininity shouldn't be blamed because femininity has emotion happen to them, right? Like this is femininity. Femininity doesn't always um is not always able to control their emotions. And so if they can't control their emotions to be blamed will just create more emotions that makes them not control themselves. So they control themselves even less if they're being blamed, because they know that it's not their fault. Because these emotions just came upon me, I can't help it, right? I mean, there's a picture or a short snippet on the Three Girls in Love Instagram of, the, what's it called? The Virgin Jane, or Jane the Virgin, whatever it is, where she says, "These are my feelings. I can't control them." And that's a perfect analogy of what femininity is like. And if you translate that over to a man, if he goes throughout his youth, 9 years old, and being forced to be disciplined, he's not going to want to grow up very fast. Okay? He has been blamed for all of his life, and now he comes to the sexual motivation time where he's supposed to be motivated, go out into the workplace and support women and children, and it becomes distorted in his brain. His brain is telling him to, no, I want to experience my childhood. I want to have fun. I want to remain in the now. I don't want to think about the future. I want to focus on getting my immediate needs filled, and focus rather on the things that give me immediate pleasure right now, because I didn't when I was a child. And because of this, I'm now going to do my own thing. So they're going to be independent, but they're going to independently seek pleasure instead of seeking independently growth, and be excited about that growth. So what's the solution to this? The solution is that they have a childhood from 0 to 9 years old, that boys actually are allowed to remain in their femininity until they get their testosterone. It's crucial, because if boys are not allowed to have their childhood, then they're going to continuously want to remain in that childhood, and it becomes dangerous, because when kids are children, they very often use violence. They're kind of like, they never want to learn, because they're in their emotions, and because they're in their emotions, they focus only on when other people are attacking them, because that happened all the time in their childhood. And when they're being attacked, they feel like they're being blamed. And when they're being blamed, they start immediately to blame someone else. And once they blame someone else, then they're being blamed back. And then it escalates to fighting and arguing, and eventually sometimes violence. I mean, you see, guys, feminine men are the most dangerous men on planet Earth. Okay? Understand that when you look at, someone told me yesterday, yeah, but men are the ones that have caused most wars, in history. It's not women who do that. Right, because women don't cause wars because they know immediately that they can't win over men physically, okay, strength wise. So they're not the ones that cause the wars. Very often they try to get men to fight the wars for them. But men in general, the reason why they cause wars, and I'm not saying that you should defend yourself, you should defend your property, you should defend your freedom, you should defend, right, your loved ones, but to cause war, oh my gosh, that's feminine. That's not masculine. It's feminine because it's based on emotion. It's based on, oh, we're not going to be able to solve it with the little resources we have right now. So we need to actually go out there and force other people to give us of their resources because we deserve it. It's not like that. That's socialism, to force other people because we need to take care of those that we love. That's wrong. We have to look at the long-term picture of, we're going to figure this out, we're going to solve this, and we're going to create win-win situations in order for everyone to prosper at the same time. That's masculine, because that's looking at the long term. That's taking yourself outside of your body, outside of your emotions, and looking at things rationally. Rationality is masculine. Irrationality and force and violence is feminine. So once the world begins to understand the different definitions of masculine and feminine, we'll begin to understand how to raise kids, which is the most important thing that we can do because that's the future, right? If kids get neglected, meaning they have to fight for their own survival, they have to figure out how to get food on their own, they don't get love, they don't get the worship and the appreciation of being kids, then they're going to grow up and create problems. And those problems are going to be in effect for everyone that they come around, right? So, what you're seeing right now in the world where things are becoming a little bit shaky, that's neglected children, you see. Hurt people hurt people. So, those children very often have massive baggage, emotional baggage from their childhoods, and you might have the same. And the more issues you've had as a child, as a woman, the more masculine you will be. Now that's where things differ between us, isn't it interesting? You would think that um, the more issues you'd have, like that it would be the same thing, like you would grow to become feminine because you there's no way to explain it. Of course you don't become feminine by having issues in your childhood. You as a woman become masculine because of it, because you compete, because you have to fend for yourself, because you have to make sure that you take care of yourself because no one else is taking care of you. That's masculine, but it's a dangerous masculine because it's based on irrationality. It's based on only selfishness. The masculinity that men get is based on actually making sure that we win, win-win situations. It's based on taking care of those that you're sexually attracted to and your children, because you want your children to to leave you a legacy. And I'm talking about men now, and you want your women to love you and worship you in a sense. So that becomes different because you, as a masculine man, you take care of those things because you want it to last, you want it to grow, you want it to, it's your property in a sense. It's kind of weird to use that word, but that's how masculinity thinks. That's how we are designed. And we're territorial because we're defending the things that's ours, but at the same time, we'll make sure that we only defend it. We're not going to, try to control it if we're truly masculine. If we're feminine, we're going to be territorial, but we're going to have the hybrid of being territorial and being forceful. That means that we're going to control you and we're going to do the things that to make sure that you remain ours. But that, it's kind of silly because rationally, what you force to stay with you will try to run away as much as possible. And you might have seen that in your relationships. Man, guys, you got to comment here, tell me your own experiences because I'm just talking to a wall. Thanks. Okay, so anyway, the do you understand how this all works together? Like, children are the future. We have to take care of the kids. And unless we take care of the kids, we're going to enter into a world that you don't want to be a part of. And that's where men are masculine, hybrid feminine, meaning using their emotions. Like, their emotions are happening to them. And because of that, they're blaming other people. And because they're blaming, that's going to create escalation because the other person, if it's a guy and he's also feminine, there's going to be massive escalation until there's violence. And when there's violence, then it creates more and more problems because people's egos are being, under attack. Because if I lose this battle now, this is a guy, okay? This is how we're wired. I have to win. I can't lose, and it continues to escalate into revenge and into more and more escalation, and until you bring in weapons into the problem, and it escalates and escalates and escalates, and that's what you see out there. Masculinity meaning strength, blah blah blah, and then femininity coupled with that creates huge problems because of the ego, because of the revenge, because of the escalation, because of I don't care if I die. I just want to win, type of thing. Because you want to be the one that that wins the competition of who's the strongest, and if I don't win this, then he's going to give me problems for the rest of my life. No. Okay, if you're a rational guy, you'll understand that escalation will create more problems, then he's going to give me problems for the rest of my life. No. Okay, if you're a rational guy, you'll understand that escalation will create more problems for yourself, more problems for yourself, more problems for them. It's a lose-lose, and you know that it's going to involve your mother, it's going to involve all of your family. If you die, there's going to be people left behind, etc., etc. So rationally, it's not a very good idea to escalate a situation. Instead, you need to learn leadership. You need to understand how to persuade people and be emotionally cool at all times. Now, if people attack you, then of course you defend yourself, and you defend yourself well, because you've rationally trained and being wise about it. You guys understand this. And I was going through yeah, I have tons more to share about this, but maybe I should make a part 2 about it. So hope you guys have a fantastic day, fantastic night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you again in the next one.